Hiya, Scott. ROCKFILE back with another podcast review. Going to talk about the 4K edition of Halloween 3, Season of the Witch. (1982's) Halloween Season of the Witch is a lot of people will say misunderstood these days. Tommy Lee Wallace wrote and directed this film. It was produced by Deborah Hill and John Carpenter, like the first two Halloween movies. It stars Tom Atkins, Stacey Nelkin, and Dan O'Herlihy. John Carpenter did the music with Alan Holworth. Dino De Laurentiis produced it. Had a $4.6 million budget, went on to make $12.4 million, was considered a hit at the time, although not with fans. In 1982, I was in high school. I had seen Halloween 1 and 2, probably too young. I wasn't 18 yet. I had just gotten a driver's license. We had watched Halloween 1 and 2 on those Rockathon things where you raise money for charity. They lock you in on like a Friday night, and your parents pick you up Saturday morning, and you have to stay up all night. And to keep us awake, they showed us movies that were, I saw Scanners. These were not movies I probably should have watched at that time, but we got away with it. Parents sign whatever things. Anyway, that's how I saw the first Halloween movies. So we were primed. I got to tell you, I sat in a crowded movie theater to see this on a Friday night. It was Friday night, day night, high school. The theater, there wasn't an empty seat. Do you remember when theaters used to pack out? Like you would go in and have a hard time finding a seat? The theater was packed. And I remember this movie coming on. Everybody just, the hush over the crowd as the music started, and then it was just something else. It never once became what anybody expected it to be. I remember walking out. Some people really liked it. Some people, well, I would say more people, really stayed to the end just to see if like Michael would show up. Had they told us that they were trying to do something different? Maybe. None of the previews, they didn't say Michael Myers was not going to be in the film. It was just they showed things that looked like a standard horror movie. You didn't really, at the time, realize that there didn't appear to be Michael Myers in there. Maybe it'd be a surprise, But once the movie starts, it has a whole different vibe to it. It is really a cult classic horror film that holds up very well if you don't consider it a Halloween movie. Everybody in the movie is good. They're acting like this is a serious situation. What's happening is there's a conspiracy. A company seems to be creating masks that are going to basically destroy the world. It's kind of that big a deal. But it's not really a slow burn, but the deaths that happen, they're pretty gruesome, by the way, that happen along the way. There's some things that this movie does that we don't do in movies today. There's a reason why this movie is stuck around. Because, well, it was nothing what anybody wanted. We want another Michael Myers movie. Come on. And they returned with Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers. We were sitting in the theater expecting that Halloween experience, expecting Michael Myers to pop out and knife some teens. This was a whole different thing with real actors tracking down a mystery. People were dying, and was this company in this little village part of it? And it gets into some pretty science fiction-y kind of territory, science fiction horror film that we did not anticipate. I got to admit being disappointed in 1982, and I've never owned a copy of this film since. I just didn't go back to it. People were like, well, it was different. I'm like, it was. It just wasn't what it should have been. We wanted another Michael Myers movie. So Amazon just released brand new, expensive Shout Factory exclusive steelbooks, and they're really pricey. These new Amazon exclusives are all right at about $44.99, about $45, which is $10 more than steelbooks usually are. If it was something I really wanted, yes, but when at the time the Shout Factory sale was going on, you could get things for half price or less. I got this for like $17.99. It is a really great special edition. The 4K looks and sounds incredible for what it is. There's a lot of extras on here. They're talking to people today. It was Tom Atkins' birthday the other day, and he's got that final scene in here. That scene that, like Donald Sutherland at the end of Invasion of the Body Snatchers, that's so ingrained on our memories as he's screaming into the phone at the end of the film. Some people think it ended well. Some people think it doesn't. That's one of the things I like about it. The whole story is like watching it now. So I mentioned that it does things. Children die in this film. Children are killed. They're part of the plan that this is going to happen. it's just not something you see in movies. And I'm sure some people were probably offended. Probably more people will be offended now to watch that film. But there are kids who are victims of what this conspiracy is doing. That you just don't see that in films. I watched the scene. I'm like, wow, I didn't expect that. It was kind of like when evil lurks. That movie I reviewed about 6 months ago. There's a scene in there you just don't expect to happen because it involves a kid and an animal. And okay, it happened. So anyway. Watching it now, I really enjoyed the mystery of it. I enjoyed trying to figure out what the Shamrock Company was doing, this novelties factory with the Halloween masks. And this gets into witchcraft and science fiction, two things that just really weren't in Halloween's toolbox. It's distributed by Universal Pictures. It was a big deal. Well, that's why a $4 million movie went on to make $14 million at the time. But for many, many years, people wouldn't watch Halloween 3 Season of the Witch. Well, it seemed the people that liked this movie were the people that weren't Halloween fans. So now 4K looks and sounds fantastic. It's a native 4K transfer. I can't tell you how great it looks. There's a lot of practical effects and effects with bugs and things like that. Really well done. The witchcraft side of things, to give any spoilers, of the science fiction side of things, really interesting. Where the movie goes, how it's going to all come about. By those standards, and even today, you'd call this like an A24 film. It's kind of that. It does have some cheesy stuff in it. It's got sign of the times. This was a Dino De Laurentiis movie. He was trying to make another hit. Deborah Hill and John Carpenter worked on it. Same people that worked on all the early John Carpenter films. It does have that kind of vibe to it, but it is a different animal than all of the other Halloween movies. So if you add this to your collection, it's going to be because you like the movie. It does look and sound great in 4K. There's a lot of extras as well. Modern, interesting interviews with the people that starred in the film. They're still alive. They're still around. They talk to the director, the stars. It's a very great package. Movie looks and sounds great. If you like it, pick it up. If you're on the fence about it, it has no Michael Myers, but it has a whole lot of other stuff in it. I actually really enjoyed Halloween 3 Season of the Witch for the first time ever in my life. So kudos to Shout Factory for giving me an opportunity to see the movie as I saw it back in 1982, but with new eyes, not expecting something that I wasn't going to get. So that's my review of Halloween 3. It's not a Halloween movie, but so their idea was to do an anthology thing before Creepshow, before Tales from the Dark Side, which I just reviewed. Their idea was they would do a Halloween themed movie. It wouldn't be Michael Myers, but it would be about Halloween. So this was their first stab at it. But they didn't tell us that. They just called it Halloween 3. So by calling it Halloween 3 after Halloween and Halloween 2, you assume it was going to be Halloween 3, but it wasn't. Had they called it just Season of the Witch, a Halloween movie maybe? We weren't calling things that back then, but that was their idea. They just didn't tell us about it beforehand, and afterwards it was a little late because people expected other things. Everybody obviously went on to bigger things, and this movie stands the test of time as, well, here's something we tried, just wasn't executed the way it probably should have been in marketing and that kind of thing. But the movie holds up as a cult classic little horror film from 1982. It's actually better than some of the other films of its era. So Halloween 3, pick up the Shout Factory Special Edition or the very expensive Steelbook if you're so inclined, and enjoy. I thought it was very interesting. Scott and ROCKFILE, more podcasts are on the way. Please like, share, and subscribe, and have a spectacular day.